On the news, APC screening committee disqualifies 10 presidential aspirants. INEC launches regulations and guidelines for general elections. And Lagos State Task Force crushes over 2,000 impounded motorcycles. We're glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. Now we begin the news with a story that 10 out of 23 presidential hopefuls have been disqualified from participating in the All Progressives Congress APC Special Convention to pick a standard bearer. John Oyegun, chairman of the screening panel, said this on Friday while presenting a report to Abdullahi Adamu, APC national chairman. Although chairman of the screening panel did not reveal the identity of aspirants who made the court, it disclosed that only youthful aspirants made the list of cleared aspirants. The committee held the screening exercise between Monday and Tuesday this week. The cleared aspirants were selected to contest the presidential primary at a scheduled special convention in Abuja between June 6th and 8th.
And we are keen on continuing the process and replacing at the proper time our president with yet another member of the party. And so the ability to lead, your background, your experience, your understanding of the Nigerian situation, your ideas as to how issues, difficulties, problems and the rest can be addressed and how the country can be moved forward became a critical consideration. It is on that basis, who are you, what have you achieved, what is your understanding of your nation, and what do you think you can contribute to move the nation forward. It was on the basis of that that we made our final shortlist. But we have a shortlist, we brought the number severely down to 13.
One thing which I find worthy of very special mention is the fact that the Nigerian youth have responded. They have among them people who braved the spirit of competition and offered themselves to be considered.
To discuss this further, political affairs analyst Nelson Ekujimi joins me now. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, this is, of course, a very interesting turn of events, but were you expecting that as many as 10 aspirants will be disqualified?
Well, thank you very much. I wasn't expecting any number of aspirants to be disqualified, but knowing fully well that, a party has the right to set the template for persons vying for political office under its banner. I'm not surprised that, a screening committee was put in place, but the criteria for selecting the candidate, selecting the aspirants that will now stand for the proper election, the criteria was not made public. So I think the party in its wisdom has done what it feels is needful. And any aspirant who is dissatisfied, should take, should approach the committee for dispute resolution in the party, to tender his case, asking why he or she was disqualified, and the party will do the needful. But we cannot run away from the fact that the party has the right to screen its members who want to vie for political office and determine those who are suitable or not minding the fact that the area of aspirants under the APC was a very rich, were persons with rich credentials. So I'm surprised about that, about as high as 10 were disqualified.
Now, the aspirants who were either cleared or disqualified are presently unknown, but the chairman of the screening panel emphasized that only youthful aspirants made the list of the cleared list, basically. So what do you make of this?
Well, when he mentioned youthful, the question we should ask, is it youthful in terms of age? Is it youthful in terms of experience? Is it youthful in terms of knowledge? Because if you are looking at youthfulness in terms of age, don't forget, not too long ago, a 60 years old man became the youth leader of a political party. So we all know that in politics, the circumstances determines the age. So when the party chairman has now spoken about youthful aspirants, you want to ask, or Nigerians should ask, what does it mean by youthful? Is it youthful in age of, because in Nigeria, a youth could be as old as 70 years old, and a youth could also be as old as 60 years old. So for me, I don't understand what he meant by youthful, except it comes out clearly with the parameters for youthfulness.
But definitely the eventual release of the Lucky 13 would definitely answer the question. But our political affairs analyst Nelson Ekujimi, thank you very much for your time and thank you for your contribution. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has launched the regulations and guidelines for the conduct of the general elections in the country. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu announced this on Friday during a meeting of the Interagency Consultative Committee on the Election Security at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. Yakubu said with the coming into force of the Electoral Act of 2022, it has become necessary to review the Commission's regulations and guidelines to govern the conduct of elections. The INEC chairman added that the Commission is working to ensure Nigerians who want to register for their permanent voters card are able to do so despite the surge witnessed across the country. Boyega Lukman Salau, an aspirant vying for the seat of a lawmaker at the Lagos State House of Assembly for Shomolu Constituency under the ruling All Progressives Congress APC, has opposed the result of the party's primary, which produced a fellow contender Samuel Akpata as winner. Boyega described the election, which was held at the Bariga Local Council Development Area, as fraught with irregularities, adding that the process was contrary to the stipulations of the Electoral Act of 2022. While lamenting that numerous appeals to party authorities to resolve the issue has proved abortive, Salau stressed that he and other affected persons will continue to resist all forms of imposition in the constituency.
For a political appointee, the failure to resign an appointment before voting as a delegate or standing as an aspirant in a primary election is a violation of the Electoral Act and further renders the primary election null and void and illegal. As I am speaking to you right now, we are still expecting the appeal panel to make a categorical statement over the matter. However, at this juncture, we await the decision of the appeal committee. We hereby wish to use this to restate our prayers, which are as follows: that the vote of the 5 illegal delegates be removed and I should be declared the winner of the primary election. That a rerun should either be called whilst the illegal delegates are removed. We may, however, be compelled to take the matter to the appropriate court of law to seek redress if our requests are not granted, having exhausted all internal party mechanisms to resolve the matter.
President Muhammadu Buhari has said the federal government would aggressively protect and defend the interests of law-abiding citizens in the diaspora. Buhari gave the assurance when he met with Nigerians living in Spain on the sidelines of his 3-day state visit. The president further reiterated that the conduct of Nigerians abroad is crucial as it defines their roles as ambassadors and image promoters of the country. More details of this story in this report. On the sidelines of President Muhammadu Buhari's 3-day visit to Spain, Nigerians living in Spain have been assured that Nigeria will continue to defend the interests of its nationals living abroad. The meeting had in attendance Nigeria's ambassador to Spain, Ademola Seriki, members of President Buhari's cabinet, as well as some Nigerians living in Spain. In his address, President Buhari urged them to give back to their homes in the form of monetary and non-monetary investments.
I encourage you to embrace purposeful investment back home. Such investments can be financial or through your talents and skills, which can help mold and develop your youth back at home. On the part of the federal government, Nigeria will continue to aggressively protect and defend the interests of all Nigerians abroad, especially the law-abiding compatriots.
The president touched on the many challenges facing the country, assuring that the government would not rest on its oars in surmounting them.
Despite our numerous challenges at home, such as the containment of terrorist activities and other forms of threats to our national security, as well as the devastating impact of the coronavirus pandemic, our government continues to work assiduously to tackle challenges of infrastructural development, power, water, transportation, housing, etc., with a view to creating the enabling environment for our collective prosperity.
In his remarks, Nigeria's ambassador to Spain, Ademola Seriki, spoke on some of the achievements of his office, as well as the strides of Nigerians living in Spain.
We have 80,000 documented Nigerians in Spain, and the footballers are very thriving. We have about 19 footballers, Nigerian footballers, and I'm sure, Mr. President, you know about Aziza, who plays for Barcelona. She's one of the leaders in football in this country, and it's well appreciated. But I hope one day a Nigerian like Kenneth will be playing for Real Madrid, which is my team. The Nigerians here appreciate your concern, and I, as the head of mission, through the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, I'm driving it within the limits of power and rule of law without compromising anything that may be an infraction.
Super Eagles player Kenneth Omoiro presented President Buhari with a football and jersey in appreciation of the Nigerian leaders' support for sports, especially the Super Eagles. Folashade Ogrinde, TV360 News. The Lagos State Tax Force has destroyed 2,228 impounded motorcycles at the agency's office in Alausa, Ikeja. This comes following the enforcement of the ban on the operations of commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada, on all highways across 6 local government and 9 local county development areas in the state. Our correspondent, Simisaladigo, monitored the exercise and files in this report.
Since 1999, every government in Lagos State has placed either a partial or total ban on the operations of commercial motorcycles, popularly known as Okada. The current ban, which is the second in 2 years since the tenure of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was prompted by the lynching of 31-year-old sound engineer Sunday Imo by suspected Okada operators in the Lekki area of the state, allegedly over a 100 naira transport fare dispute. The government swung into action by announcing that a total ban will be placed on Okada from major highways in the state beginning from Monday, June 1st, 2022.
The whole of Ikeja local government, the whole of Surulere local government, the whole of Etiosa local government, the whole of mainland local government, the whole of Apapa local government, and the whole of Lagos Island local government. a total ban on this and all of the highways effective from the 1st of June.
Following this announcement, the Lagos State government pointed out that motorcycles seized from erring operators will be crushed. The government made good its threat on Wednesday when 2,228 seized motorcycles were destroyed at the Lagos State Task Force office at Lausa. Behind me, over 2,000 impounded commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada, are being destroyed by the Lagos State Task Force. The Chief Superintendent of Police for Lagos State, Shola Jejeloye, says the action, which follows due process, will ensure that the ban is thorough and effective.
Since on the 1st of June, there has been more than 85% compliance. 85% compliance in the sense that we don't see Okadas on the road, on the express any longer. The number has drastically reduced. The law does not respect anybody. So if this is the position of the law, we must align ourselves with it.
Some government officials who monitored the exercise specified that the motorcycle is not part of the Lagos State Transport Plan, adding that the government is determined to see an end to the operations of Okada in order to reduce the casualty rate.
We have said that Okada riders, we are not leaving them to their own devices. They can form cooperatives and come and join the last mile and first mile bus scheme. For your own information, some of them have come up, even with money, to say they want to get some of these buses for them to be running. But the human element is also there. If we cooperate with the government to obey the law, some of the things you talk about, traffic jam here and there, they will go down.
It's important that we move people in mass from one point to the other. We can't continue to move people in small numbers, and that's why we're investing in the rail, we're investing in the BLT, we're reforming the bus sector, we're reforming our water transportation. The government has invested in more boats, and most importantly, we're integrating all the various modes of transport so that people can move from one mode to the other seamlessly and then pay with just one ticket.
The ban has raised mixed reactions from local residents, with some saying the operators ride dangerously, while others say Okada riding trade serves as a means of livelihood for the unemployed population. However, the Lagos State government has appealed to residents to remain calm as well as utilize safer means of transport that have been put in place. Simisola Digun, TV360 News.
We'll take a break here, but still to come, capital importation dropped by 28% in Q1 2022 as only 6 states secured foreign investment. Details of the story and more right after this break. Welcome back. Now here is a recap of some of our top stories tonight. 10 out of 23 presidential hopefuls have been disqualified from participating in the All Progressives Congress APC Special Convention to pick a standard bearer. Although the chairman of the screening panel, John Oyegun, did not reveal the identity of aspirants who made the court, it disclosed that only youthful aspirants made the list cleared. We also told you that the Lagos State Task Force has destroyed 2,228 impounded motorcycles at the agency's office in Alausa, Ikeja. This comes following the enforcement of the ban on the operations of commercial motorcycles, popularly called Okada, on all highways across 6 local government and 9 local council development areas in the state. When in case you missed any of our news bulletin, or for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we are TV360 Online. scientists working with the World Health Organization (WHO) have corrected some errors in its estimates of how many deaths the pandemic has caused. In a revision of a technical paper on their methods, researchers quote Germany's pandemic-related deaths estimate by 37%, pulling its excess death rates below those of the United Kingdom and Spain. They also raised their estimate for Sweden by 19%. The WHO study released on May the 5th had estimated excess death rates, meaning the increase in mortality above expected levels for 194 countries. Deaths on the African continent from COVID-19 are expected to fall by nearly 94% in 2022 compared to last year. Modeling by the World Health Organization (WHO) showed on Thursday. According to the WHO Regional Director for Africa, Mashidiso Moheti, at a press conference, the latest analysis suggests that estimated deaths in the African region will shrink to around 60 a day in 2022. She further explained that the decline in numbers is due to increased vaccination, improved pandemic response, and natural immunity from prior infections. I will take a break here and return with more stories in business. Stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
Wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the go-to app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other People Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Abisola Adebayo now joins us for more stories in business. Over to you, Bisola.
Thank you, Folashade. Welcome to Business News. Latest data released by the National Bureau of Statistics (NBS) indicates that capital importation into the country declined by 28.09% in the first quarter of 2022. The data further shows that the total capital imported into the country in the first quarter stood at $1.57 billion, down from $2.19 billion in the preceding quarter. Only 6 states, including Lagos, Anambra, Oyo, Katsina, Plateau, and the FCT, received capital investment in the first quarter of 2022. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has called on investors to look beyond the challenges currently facing the world and focus on opportunities they present, adding that there are no challenges without opportunities and solutions. President Buhari made this call on Thursday in Madrid when he addressed the Spain-Nigeria business meeting organized by the Spanish Chamber of Commerce and Nigeria's Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment during a state visit to Spain.
Since the inception of our administration in 2015, we have concentrated on moving beyond the historical dependence on crude oil for government revenue and foreign exchange inflows. We have successfully driven its diversification and put the economy on the path of sustainable and inclusive growth through an open, rules-based and market-oriented way of doing business. We are open to widening collaboration with Spain, and in order to encourage private capital inflow, we have put together fiscal investment incentives, which include the following: 3 to 5 years tax holidays for enterprises in what we deem to be pioneer industries, tax-free operations, and no restrictions on expatriate quotas in our free trade zones, capital allowances for agriculture, manufacturing, and engineering, amongst others. Going into partnership with trusted local and foreign partners who have well-established networks and understand the dynamics of the economy and country is one of the identified keys to success in Nigeria.
Earlier in his remarks, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Niyi Adebayo, says Nigeria and Spain have enjoyed a very cordial relationship since the 1960s. He added that Nigeria was committed to increasing its volume of trade with Spain, even as Spain is currently one of Nigeria's strongest EU trading partners.
Nigeria is also home to a multitude of investment opportunities in, but not limited to, the following sectors: security, infrastructure, the green economy, and technology. Nigeria is at the beginning of a tech boom, with growing interest in our fintech and ag-tech spaces. These are areas where I can see a lot of scope for collaboration with Spanish firms. Agriculture and food production are other big areas, and I am glad that a major Spanish company is already very active in Nigeria in this space. Nigeria is open for business, and the federal government is ready to partner with and support Spanish businesses wishing to enter into our market.
We'll take a break now and return with a review of the stock market. The local stock market returned to the positive territory on Friday after days of negative sentiment. At the close of Friday's trading, the all-share index recorded an increase of 0.13% to close at 52,908 basis points. The Stockstock contributed to the market's positive turnover today, where financial services giant NEM Insurance, leading that pack, has recorded a 38 kobo increase. It is closely followed by ICT company Champs PLC with a 2 kobo increase. On the flip side, that's our losers for today. UP Credit and WAPIC led the losers counter at the close of trading as they recorded a combined 37 kobo loss. Our market summary sees a total volume of 283 million units of shares valued at 3.3 billion naira, exchanging hands in 4,245 deals. Moving on to the foreign scene, global equities market fell as U.S. Treasury yields reached 2-week highs on Friday after data shows the American economy generated a greater than expected number of jobs in May, signaling the Federal Reserve will likely continue raising interest rates in its efforts to curb inflation, which is why we can see the FTSE and the Dow Jones decreasing, recording a 0.98% decline and 0.94% decline respectively. But Japan's Nikkei, however, closed at an almost 2-month high on Friday on what was a thin day of trading across Asia as investors wait on U.S. jobs data. That's all on Stock Market Report. Folashade, back to you for the rest of the news.
So many thanks, Bisala, for that update. And on the foreign scene, the United Nations says there would be no victory from Russia's invasion of Ukraine as the conflict entered its 100th day and Moscow's forces pressed deeper into eastern Donbass region. After being repelled from around the capital, President Vladimir Putin's troops have set their sights on capturing eastern Ukraine, prompting warnings the war could drag on. President Volodymyr Zelensky said late Thursday that Ukrainian forces had had some success in the battle for the industrial hub, which is in the Lugansk region. Well, up next is Entertainment Report on News Now.
Netflix has debuted the official trailer for its latest Nigerian original feature film, Glamour Girls, which is a remake of the 1994 classic. The film, produced by Abimbola Craig and directed by Bumi Ajakaye, tells the story of a young woman whose quest for financial liberation lands her in the world of prostitution. Amid pressures, she must find a way to remain afloat. The remake stars Nseipe Etim, Sharon Oja, Toke Makinwa, Femi Branch, Uzo Arukwe, alongside Ghanaian stars Jocelyn Dumas and James Gardiner. Nigerian singer Kiss Daniel has expressed his belief that Afrobeats needs more international audiences rather than international collaborations. The Buga crooner said this in response to a question and answer session on Twitter when a fan suggested that Nigeria needs more international collaborations. In a recent interview, the singer mentioned that his focus remains on making good music, which will eventually attract international collaborations. And that's all we have on the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment and now to sport, Rafael Nadal has reached the French Open final after his opponent Alexander Zverev was taken off court in a wheelchair following a nasty fall. Third-seed Zverev screamed in pain when he went down on the baseline, stretching for a ball on the final point of the 14th game of the second set. Nadal was leading when the incident happened. And that's the size of our news bulletin. Many thanks for watching. I am Folashade Ogrinde. Bye for now.